Domestic violence. When we hear these words, images of physical bruises, split lips, and scars come to mind. But the reality is, domestic violence is so much more than just physical harm. It can be subtle, insidious, and can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, or background. Domestic violence is about power and control, manifesting itself in ways that are not always visible. With physical abuse, victims can easily show their bruises, but when being emotionally hurt, it can be hard to convince others you're being abused. Hi, I'm Sonia Brown, Executive Director of Domestic Violence Services of Cumberland and Perry Counties, and today we're shedding light on the often overlooked aspects of domestic violence. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, nearly half of all women and men in the United States have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime. It's time we understood that the impact goes far beyond bruises.
Domestic violence isn't just about bruises, it's the fear that grips you every day.
It's the constant need to walk on eggshells around your abuser.
It's threats against your loved ones that keeps you compliant.
So domestic violence is a reflection of a culture of violence that's really based in gender roles and gender expectations in our culture. So the messages we receive about what a man is and what a woman is often make it very complicated when we have violence and abuse in relationships and in homes. I see that here with students. I see students coming from families that have struggled with domestic violence. I see students struggle with domestic violence in their own relationships. One of our goals is to build student awareness so that they can start to resist some of those factors in their own lives.
Domestic violence. It's the harsh words that cut deeper than any wound.
It's the manipulation that makes you question your own reality.
It's the destruction of your belongings to intimidate you.
As a pastor, I've heard about domestic violence more than I would have ever thought. I've heard about it from women who share stories of their partners and what has happened in their lives, both physical wounds, but also emotional and mental wounds. I've also heard about it from some men, about how they have been hurt by their partners. But the one that always gets me is when I hear it from young people, from teens or kids that have been impacted, whether physically or sexually, by wounds that they now carry, or because they've been living in a home and how they have seen their mom or their grandma or someone else they love been impacted by domestic violence. And you know, the hardest thing is it's not just something that you fix in therapy for a year and then you move on. I've seen people, it takes years. And sometimes it takes many, many years to be able to move beyond domestic violence and be able to have a life where you can share your story and help others. Domestic violence isn't just about a once and done. It's something that impacts people's lives for years to come.
Domestic violence is the constant belittling that erodes your self-esteem.
It's the isolation from friends and family that makes you feel alone.
It's the financial control that leaves you feeling powerless.
It's the silent suffering that goes unnoticed by the world.
As a society, we have a responsibility to be there for victims in the darkest moment of their lives and to show them that there's a brighter tomorrow.
And when it comes to domestic violence, I believe everyone should live with dignity and no one should live in fear.
There is hope. By recognizing these signs and understanding the full scope of domestic violence, we can better support victims and work towards a world where everyone feels safe and respected. We need your help now to protect those most vulnerable in our community. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, help is available. Reach out, speak up. You're not alone.